Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are going to be watching a banned movie, or at least a previously banned movie. That's right, we're watching Cannibal Holocaust. This is a famous banned movie that was for 5 years banned in the US and has been banned in many other countries, including Italy and Australia. It is known pretty wide for some of the reasons it was banned, just the graphic content. Real animals were killed in the production of this film. It's supposed to be one of the most disturbing films ever made. And we're reacting to it today. This is a donation reward for Sweet Venom, and yeah, it's one of two banned movies we'll be reacting to this month. The other is the final Halloween special movie, Necromantic. So be prepared for that too, I guess. Halloween night. But so I don't know like much of anything about like story for this. I just know like kind of the reason it was banned, the fact that it was banned for a bit, and that, like many banned films, it eventually did just, the ban was lifted. It eventually became viewable again, and it is considered by many to be worth the ban. Now, the thing is, this is an older movie, so I'm kind of curious as to how it does stack up compared to modern, uh, just, I guess you could say, sensibilities. um, I've seen so many horror movies and so many that are pretty damn gruesome that when you look back on some of these older ones, they don't come across as that bad. Now, there are some exceptions. Hellraiser is still pretty gruesome. But, like, you look back on, like, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I just reacted to that this month. And that was supposed to be, like, super gruesome and terrifying and everything. And I was just like, eh. It really wasn't that bad because I've seen so much worse. You could say I've been desensitized to what a lot of these movies can be. I mean, I've watched the Terrifier films. Those are much, much worse than Texas Chainsaw Massacre could ever hope to be. But then you have this. And again, I don't know like every specific of the bannable offenses. I just know the basic core idea. But it's said to, again, have deserved the ban. A lot of people still stand by that. And I'm curious more than anything. I'm curious to see if this stands up to that and if I believe that by modern sensibilities based on how many like gruesome films have been released, if this truly does. Now, obviously, the fact that real animals were killed in the making of this film is pretty insane. It's pretty fucked up. And I kind of wonder if this was the reason why movies will now say in the credits, like, no animals were harmed in the making of this film. I wonder if this is actually the reason. That would be pretty wild if this actually inspired that little notification in the comments that movies have nowadays. But yeah, it's like that is definitely the most fucked up thing just going into this movie. Because I've said it before, I'm not like the biggest animal rights person out there. I'm not like going to lose my mind over stuff like this, but that's still fucked up. I mean, killing animals just for a movie is just messed up, dude. I do know one of them. I don't know all the animals that were killed. I do know one of them is a turtle. And it's just like, that's just mean. Poor turtle. Um, Kind of makes me think of the turtle from Breaking Bad. Although I doubt they exploded it in this one. Also, I know that no actual turtle was harmed in Breaking Bad. But still, it just makes me think of that. Um, yeah. So, based on the title, though, I assume we have cannibals in this. Like I said, I don't really know the plot or anything. I assume we have cannibals. By the term Holocaust being used, it implies that it's going to be like large scale. That it's going to be large scale, it's going to be really bad as well. Like intensely terrible events happening here. Because if you're going to compare it to the Holocaust, it's like it's got to be like really fucked up. But I'm also worried because Texas Chainsaw Massacre did not feature a massacre. Like what, four people died? That's not a massacre. Um, so I'm worried that they're misusing the term. With this, I would, in fact, I could almost guarantee they're misusing the term because I doubt we're gonna have like thousands upon thousands of people dying in this. Um, but I guess as long as it lives up to like the kind of brutality and horrificness of it, it will at least have that down. Um, Now, in terms of like the gruesome shit that this movie might have, um, just as a note, if that stuff does bother you, maybe not watch this reaction. If it's like really upsetting to you to see that kind of stuff, for me, I'm. It takes certain things to really bother me. Like eye horror bothers me. That's been made very clear. Digging into a wound, like an open wound, bothers me. Um, Stuff like that, like where you're like digging into a wound to like remove a bullet or something. It's like that. It's just like, no. Pretty much anything with eye horror bothers me. Stuff like that. But it's like just general gruesomeness and whatnot probably doesn't bother me as much. Usually doesn't. Most of the stuff in Hellraiser, for example, doesn't really bother me too terribly. Same with Terrifier. There are parts like from Terrifier 2 that have said to be like really bad for a lot of people, and it's like, most of it wasn't really a big deal to me. Because I've been desensitized. I've seen so much of this shit by this point that it's just it doesn't do as much to me anymore. There are exceptions. There are always exceptions. There are always things that will just suddenly freak me out. It depends on how it's presented as well, mind you. It's not just the act itself. Sometimes it's the presentation. Like I've seen a lot of things where people are like cut in half and stuff, but like the one scene from the first Terrifier movie freaks me out for some reason. Just I guess because of its presentation. It's just like the presentation of it with the actor who plays Art and just the way it's done. It just freaks me out. So yeah, presentation matters too. It's not just the act. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely interested to check this out. The fact that it is a banned movie is really what keeps my attention here. Because it makes me just innately curious. Like, why was this bad? I mean, besides, just the general factors I already know. Like, what about this is going to feel like, oh, this movie was a banned movie in multiple countries? What could cause that? So we're going to find out. And no better time than the present, so let's get this going. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we're back. We'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. You know, ironically, it wasn't the real animal deaths that occurred in this. Ironically, it wasn't the, like, realistic people deaths, which was, actually examined by the courts because they had thought it was real and that this was a snuff film and that people actually were killed in the making of this because of how realistically it was portrayed. It's not that stuff that bothered me. The thing that bothered me the most in this film was the way that these fucking cunts, this crew setting out to make a documentary of these tribal people, were treating them and acting in general. They were so actively fucked up and evil that it astounds me. And I know that's the point. Like, obviously the final line in the movie on, like, who the real cannibals are, referencing how a lot of times, like, for the sake of sensationalism, will quote unquote cannibalize our own and everything. How we'll. There's a message here, obviously, and you're not supposed to like these people. This is why the footage, why in the end they decided to burn the footage after the professor showed them the last of it and all. Because it's like these people were not meant to be seen as, you know, role models. They were not meant to be seen as good people. They were fucking awful. They were pieces of shit. They were absolutely evil. It's just, they deserve to, they fucking deserve to die. Yeah, it really bothers me anytime I see, like, even in films, examples of people, like, being, like, treated like this, like, pretty much innocent people being treated like this. It's like, don't get me wrong, the cannibalism and everything of these tribes, like, yeah, that's there's a certain aspect of that that's very messed up, obviously, but this is their tribes. This is how they are, and to go in and try to interfere with them, and, you know, especially at the end, like, to find one of their women to violently and horrifically rape her, and then to fake a sensationalist murder for her, like it was made a very clear point in this movie that they faked shit to get, like, ratings and all, and it's like I feel like that the scene where they discovered her impaled on the pole, like that and everything, felt off. And when I was looking things up in between, it's like, oh yeah, no, it's very much implied that they faked that, just to get, you know, more attention and everything. Which means after raping her, they also murdered her and set her up for that, which explains why the tribe then came after them. The tribe hadn't, like, ritualistically killed her or anything. It was our camera crew here, and the tribe was coming after them for revenge for what they had done to her. But yeah, like the gore and gruesome stuff in this, that kind of stuff, it didn't bother me as much because I've seen worse. I've seen much worse in various other films here and there. I've seen stuff that's a lot more like gruesome and gross and horrific looking in terms of gore and everything, in terms of violence. The one thing you could say about this is it did look more real. And from what I could tell reading stuff about this, that seemed to be the point. This was meant to be shocking. And there was even an aspect of it where the entire accusations and concerns about the people really being killed in this, that was actually the point too. Apparently, the actors who had died were like told to kind of stay out of the spotlight, stay away from the public, not do any interviews or promotion for the movie, because it was made to, they were trying to make it look like this was an actual found footage thing, Blair Witch style. Like how in Blair Witch they tried to make it look real, except, you know, this is worse. So that's why, like, Italian courts and all thought this was like a snuff film and like arrested the director and everyone who worked on this. And like a bunch of the people who worked on this actually got like 4 month suspended sentence, actually got, you know, jail time for this shit. And it's like, I can see it, but again, it's kind of the point of the film that you're not supposed to like what you're seeing. It's supposed to disturb you. It's supposed to disgust you because it's in the world of the film. It's being called out as being wrong. The professor and everything is telling these people, this is fucked up. This is not okay. What these people did was wrong. And it's kind of interesting too, the difference between the two expeditions that we see. Because we see the professor, his expedition, and things actually turn out fairly well there. Like everyone who goes on that expedition, the professor, his guide, the boy who's with them, Mark Miguel or something like that. I don't remember his name. The guy who with the nice body. But they all survive. They get out of it because they are respectful towards these tribes. They don't interfere. They don't mistreat them. They don't, rape and kill them. They don't try to, like, corral them into a hut before setting it on fire to stage a massacre by another tribe. They actually showed respect and care, and because of that, they got away, and that's how they got the film canisters in the first place from the other camera crew. They showed respect and, care for them as people, as human beings. And then we see this other camera crew, the one that, they found the corpses of, well, the skeletons, the skeletal remains, and got the footage from, and we see how they were literally the complete opposite. While the first crew we were following treated these native tribes with respect, technically the first crew that went in, but the second crew that we follow along the footage of, we see that they again, set up these massacres. They kill the pet pig. They rape and murder this girl, and set up like a fake ritualistic thing. They do all these horrible things to these people, mistreat them, just absolutely fuck with them because they find it funny, and because it'll bring them better ratings and shit. It's it's always interesting to me to see that kind of massive difference between two different characters or sets of characters that a movie or show or whatever follows. Um, because again, that's clearly on purpose to establish like why these people were killed and why the professor and his team were able to get out of there safe. It shows the point that these fucking cunt bags were the true primitive fuck waffles in this situation. That these native people, that they were being this unabashedly evil towards, were the victims. And I mean, again, it's very clearly intentional that we're supposed to hate them, and oh my god, I fucking hated them. Oh, definitely up there with some of my most hated characters in media, probably. Ooh, like there was a good portion of that, especially during the last scenes and everything, where it was like where the professor was showing them like the true horror of it all and showing exactly how evil these people were. There's a lot of it where I just had my like hand like in a similar position to this the entire time, and it's just because I was just so like physically upset. Like I was actually feeling physically ill watching that. And again, not because of the gore and all of that shit, because of literally how these absolute cunts were treating these people. That shit bothers me, I think, more than anything. Even more than, like, eye horror and shit. You know that shit fucks me up. Um, but no, seeing people treated like that, really bothers me. And I'm not just talking about, like, being killed, because I've seen a lot of movies, obviously, where people are murdered, where they're killed violently and horrifically, even tortured. It, it's it's different here. It's like active, antagonistic, like just evil. It is so actively vile and disgusting and horrific, the shit they were doing. It's like it's a different level than just watching like a slasher kill someone, or watching like demons mutilate a person in a movie or something like that. It's an entirely different situation, and it really bothers me when people, and the thing is this isn't even like entirely like a fictional kind of thing. People are treated like this. People who have to go through like all kinds of like horrific abuse and treatment, whether in families, in prisons, just in general, in a lot of cases, by random other people. Shit like this can happen, where evil people do horrifically evil things because they find it funny or they find it entertaining and whatnot. And that's, I think, some of the most fucked up shit ever. When people are just like treating others like this. Because the basic thing it comes down to is these camera this camera crew. I don't even give a fucking shit about their names right now. They didn't see these tribes as human. They didn't see them as human, and only viewed them as material for their film. And in the end, you saw that it got to a point where they didn't even see each other as human. Like they're still fucking filming as their own friends are being murdered. It's like the dude's like getting his genitals chopped off and getting beheaded. You see the girl get violently, horrifically raped and murdered, and they're still fucking filming it. Like, the fuck? This movie is quite an experience to watch. Like I said, I really like the difference between the two crews that went in there and how they treated the natives, how they treated these tribes. I think that was probably like the best aspect of the film and how it was made. Because the difference between both crews is just like so night and day, and it really showcases like why it's so impactful, and especially those final camera rolls, those final scenes that they had. That again, the professor was showing them to basically make them burn the footage, which they did. Um, that stuff stands out so much because again, we've seen what it's like when these tribes are shown respect, when they are treated, like fucking people, like human beings. Again, you don't need to agree with like all of their customs and everything to just treat them like fucking people who deserve respect. Like, Jesus fuck. Like it's not like these are like Nazis or something. These are just people who this is all they know. It's not like an active choice to perpetuate evil like the fucking camera crew was doing. No, this is just what they know and what they do to survive. I don't like condone obviously cannibalism or shit like that at all, but it's not like an active choice to do evil. What the camera crew did was that. Those are the kinds of people I can't forgive. Those are the kinds of people that just really I can't I can't forgive people like that. That's why, like, I do not have any semblance of um like I don't believe like Nazis deserve any semblance of humanity or kindness being shown to them. And people like that, like, just do not deserve that. Can they turn themselves around? Yes. But until and unless they do, they are Nazis, and they are deserving of anything that comes to them. It's like they're some of the only people in this world I cannot forgive. And again, like, obviously these are fictional characters in this regard, but this camera crew is very much the same. People who perpetuate this level of evil so actively and willingly. It's just, it's something that just bothers me on a very deep level. Now, I mean, I could go on about saying how, like, how the movie was, like, made and everything. Um, like, about how it was shot and how the music was, like, way too loud at points and was just distracting, and the mixing needed to be better in that regard. But honestly, it's like, who's gonna watch this movie and come away from it thinking about that shit? You're not gonna watch this movie and think about the production of it outside of, like, just the controversies surrounding, the animal deaths and whatnot. Which apparently, by the way, the monkey scene, apparently that was shot twice. So two monkeys were killed for that scene. Like, literally, really killed. And apparently the director, by the way, actually regrets those actions, which, good. that's that's probably a very good thing. But yeah, the director apparently regrets bringing real life animals and killing them into the movie. Um, it just it was needless and is kind of fucked up. Like, in the scope of the movie, the characters, like, killing animals for food, for sustenance, that's fine. But, like, the actual people making this film killing real animals, that's not really okay for a number of reasons. Um, I can say I can say though, I can see why this movie was banned in over 50 countries. I can see why it was banned. Again, not only for just the fact that it was believed at first that this was real found footage and that these people really died and all, you know. But even after, even when knowing that it's just all fiction and all, it is still it is still shot and designed and everything in a way to where it looks fucking real. And it's really fucking gruesome and uncomfortable, and yeah, it's messed up. And again, that's clearly the point. It's meant to be a film that's meant to show you some fucked up shit and teach you that, yeah, this shit is bad. The way this camera crew acted here is really fucking bad. And that sometimes humanity, the most quote unquote civilized of us, are the worst of us. That are a lot worse than these tribal people that we tend to look down on or see as prehistoric and shit. That in the end they are actually the better people than a lot of, again, these more the more uh civilized, quote unquote, of us. Just because we live in big cities and have cars and, you know shit in toilets doesn't make us better. than those people living in the jungles and surviving in the ways that they need to. We are not better than them. We are all humans and we all deserve respect and care. And that's what this movie is very clearly trying to say. The message is... I don't know what she's losing her mind at right now. She usually only acts like that if another dog is passing by or something. Anyway. But it has a good message. But the way it's presented is a lot. So, yeah. But at least I can say I've seen it now. At least I can say that this movie, is probably one I will never watch again. Yeah, tell me in the comments below what you thought of Cannibal Holocaust. I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.